Yo, what is up guys, I'm Dame, this is DameAndThatGame, and today I am going to give you a tutorial on how to make a thumbnail, a YouTube thumbnail, a gaming thumbnail, for whatever thumbnail you want, even if it's not for a YouTube video. Today I'm going to give you some techniques that are really going to help with that. Now just a small disclaimer before we get into the tutorial, I am not a pro at Photoshop, okay? I am just sharing with you how I make my thumbnails. I've made over 500 videos, I've got over 36,000 subscribers. So I'm just showing you how I make my particular videos. And not only that, if you are tuning in to watch this, you will need a small understanding of Photoshop, not a huge one, but you will know how to click on things like crop and how to cut things out, how to copy and paste. Those small little things will help you massively in this tutorial as well, though I do show you a few little shortcuts. If you have never ever used Photoshop before, you can slowly watch my video and you can watch my mouse click on what I'm using. I do explain what I'm using as well, so you can see exactly what I'm doing, and hopefully you can produce something as good, if not better, than what I create in this video. But guys, without further ado, let's get straight into that video. Okay, first up guys, we're going to start and make a new project. We're going to go to new, simple. We're going to give it a quick name. Let's call it thumbnail project. Beautiful. The width is going to be 1280 and the height is going to be 720. Those are the dimensions that we use for YouTube thumbnails. You can make them bigger, but that's just the right ratio of dimensions. You can make it 4K if you want, but there is an upload limit of 5 megabytes for thumbnails. So if you do that, chances are you're going to have to find a program to compress it to make it smaller. The resolution 72, I never mess with that. Color mode, RGB color, 8-bit, I never mess with that. Background contents, I always keep as transparent. So if I ever want to take the edges off to blend my thumbnail in with the YouTube colors, like some people have the curved corners or some people have like a shadow around the edge, this is the perfect way to do it. Color profile, I don't mess with that, leave it as that. Pixel aspect ratio, square pixels. I've tried it with others before and it's very weird. I don't understand it, so just keep it as square pixels and start a new document. Right, now when it comes to a thumbnail, I always stick to 3 rules. That is background, text, and some sort of picture to represent what I'm talking about in the video, or even sometimes just something that I like, that makes the thumbnail look cool, or something that has something small to do with what's in the video. I've actually downloaded 3 pictures what we're going to be using today, so I'm going to open them up. We have got a background, we have also got a shot of Call of Duty, that is my game, so that is what the thumbnail is going to be sort of based around, though you can apply these same techniques to anything. It doesn't matter just because it's called Call of Duty, it's still cutting and pasting and making layers is all the same thing. I've also downloaded the Black Ops 3 logo. If you go to Google and just type Black Ops 3 logo PNG, it usually comes up with all the logos, and you can do that for any game. So first off, I'm going to open all 3 at the same time. I just hold Control, click all 3, open. Now they're all in separate. They're a separate little thing. I'm going to pull down this beautiful thumbnail here, back to my thumbnail project. I'm going to click it and I'm going to drag it onto my project, like so. We don't need this anymore, so we can do that. So there so far is on our background project. What I'm going to do now is press Control and T. Bring it down a little bit and just resize it. Now I want to find a really good position where to put it. Obviously there's a bit of a floor in there, I don't want the floor, so what I might actually do is just pull the top up a little bit to make it longer. If you hold shift and press it in the corner like this, it keeps the ratio of the picture so it doesn't change shape, but we're going to change the shape a little bit just for this video. So I'm going to bring this down here. Okay, I feel that it's a little bit slanty on the sides. Actually, I think that looks good. I'm going to even it up a little bit so that this gap is the same as this gap here. So I'm going to put it like that so it looks nice and even. Enter. There we go. There's our background. Now it's a very bright background. So we're just going to tone it down just a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to filter. We're going to go to blur and Gaussian blur. And that's going to blur the background for us. We're going to turn it up a little bit more. There we go. So it's still colourful. The colourfulness is still there, but it's not in your face so much that it's taking the attention away from the rest of the thumbnail. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so the next step that I would like to do now is I want to go and get my character or my picture that I want to put on top of this. So I'm going to go over to my Black Ops Call of Duty picture, and I'm going to come over here to the lasso tool and select polygonal lasso tool. That was a mouthful. Now I'm going to select this. First I'm going to zoom in. Sorry, if you come down to the bottom left there's a zoom in. I'm going to zoom in to make it just a little bit easier. Now this can take an awful long time sometimes, so I'm basically going to cut this out literally by going click, click. It's a very, very tedious job, but if you want the best, go really nice and close as you can. I am going to show you a technique to make it a tiny bit neater when we're finished, but we're going to come back when this is finished. Okay, so we're back, and as you can see, we've now cut round the whole object. So after you've done that, you right click, you do layer via copy or layer via cut. I've done layer via copy, and it gives you this layer down here called, well, it's just called layer 0. So that is our standalone image. Now what I do just make things easier, I'll just pull this down like this, take us onto our background image, and move them over to our background. There we go. You can put it back up there. What you can also do with this is if you can make your own folder and save these individually. So you can save this as, say, Call of Duty character transparent. So you can use this for more thumbnails, because cutting that out took me about 10-15 minutes. So if you save it like this for the future, then in the future you can just use it straight away. So we're going to leave that in there for now and go back to our main image. So there he is in his glory. We're going to press Control and T. And we're going to make him smaller because he's not fitting on the screen right now. So we're going to bring him like this. Put him there. I reckon there's a little bit there I've got to cut out. I missed. See that bit there? I think we are going to bring him up a bit more like this. I want his head to go to the top of the screen to fill it up. And then I'm going to bring it over and maybe lose a bit of his hand. Yeah, I might do that. Bring him right over like that. I think he looks good. Like I might bring his head down a little bit, so we'll just shift him in a tiny bit like that. Bring him down. Might do it a little bit more. It's all about testing when you're making these videos. Right, enter. There we go. Now he's looking like he's stuck right out, which is good. He looks nice and crisp and clear. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Magic Wand. I'm going to select the image. Make sure we're on the layer. Okay. Now that's only selected that part of the image. So I'm going to press Shift. Hold Shift, and it gives a little plus sign on the Magic Wand. I'm going to select around him and select all the spaces. I'm then going to right click and press Inverse whenever it seems to pop out to me. There we go, select inverse, and it's going to select my whole character again. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to come down to the bottom of your layers and press mask. Now that makes a mask of him. I'm then going to go up to filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and I'm just going to take this down to like 2.5 pixels, and it just softens the edges of the character a bit. It just softens it into the background. That is a huge tip for that one. Press OK. Beautiful. Now we're going to press, you got to make sure you click on the picture here, right click, blend in options. Now there's many things you can do with this. A lot of people like to put strokes around them. You can make them bigger, I suppose. A black stroke, that's a bit too big of course. But you could do a stroke. A lot of people like, you've seen this I expect a lot, the white stroke around them. Or you could even put an outer glow on them. Turn the opacity up a little bit. Turn the size up so you've got a bit of a glow. Makes them stand out. All I actually do is sometimes put a tiny bit of inner glow, like so. Not inner shadow, sorry. Inner glow. Make it a little bit smaller. Couple of pixels, that's all I want. Just a tiny blend. I'm going to bring the opacity down. There, that's happy for me. Not a huge difference, but that makes a big difference for me. Drop shadow. This is the main thing that makes it pop out to you. When I put your drop shadow on, take your size up a little bit. Again, play with it. You have to play with it. And bring your spread out. And there. He sort of just pops out that tiny little bit more. I'm happy with that. Okay. Okay, so the next step, we're actually going to do a little something with this logo now. I'm actually going to get rid of the Call of Duty part. I don't want it where it says Call of Duty. So I'm going to use my select tool like that. And just press delete. Now that's gone. Deselect. No, it's a deselect. There we go. Now I'm going to cover my Black Ops sign. I'm going to layer via cut. And I'm going to resize it with Control and T and make it a little bit bigger. Like so. Enter. Beautiful. We are now going to add a stroke. Which is here, black stroke. Now this looks a little bit off. If you notice, the position is outside. So we're going to make that. We are also going to turn up the stroke a tiny little bit. Beautiful, looks good. I'm also going to put a bit of a gradient on it. So we're going to click gradient overlay. And you can see there, it shines up from the top. You can actually change the colors through here. I may leave it black on the bottom. And I'm going to press the white one and make it just a little bit not so white. Just like that. Perfect. Okay. 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 Now don't worry about 3, that's okay. We're not really going to be seeing this an awful lot in the picture. It just gives the picture a tiny bit of depth. We're going to bring this down like so. And we are now going to drag it over to our thing. Beautiful. We're going to take this back up there. Again, you can save that if you wish as a separate folder. There we go. It's Black Ops 3. Now what I'm going to do here is bring this underneath the character layer because I want it behind. I don't really want it big and pronounced. I'm then going to press Ctrl and T. I'm just going to size it up just a tiny bit. That looks good. I'm going to press enter. I'm actually going to keep Ctrl and T on just so I can move it about a little bit. I'm going to bring it up here and press enter. I'm also then going to turn down the opacity because we don't really want it sticking out too much. So I just want a little bit in the background, just a teaser, like that. So there's the Black Ops logo. It's not huge, it's not in your face, but it's just enough. I may actually add a little bit of a drop shadow to it as well, so you can just right click, blend in options, drop shadow, and I'm going to put this to normal, and we're just going to play with it a tiny little bit. Maybe put a spread up a little bit. I might bring the size down, opacity up. There we go. It sort of blends into the background that little bit more now. I'm quite happy with that. Okay, so the last and final step is the text. So we're going to come down to the text box down here. Make a nice big box. Again, if I'm not explaining things in too much detail, I do expect you to have a little bit of understanding of Photoshop, you know, as it is. So you would know where these little things are. You would know how to use blending options or little parts of it. I'm just showing you a combination of things that could work. What should we call this? This is going to be called, let's call it, not Keller. We want Killer. There we go. We're just going to start with Killer. We're going to highlight, and I'm going to use something called Cup of Joe. For fonts, you can go to a website like that font. If you just go to Google free fonts, there are hundreds and hundreds, well no, there's millions of fonts out there. When looking for fonts, you want to go for something quite big and bold, so quite thick. As you can see here, this one's quite thick. It's a little bit funky, so it's a little bit different, but it's quite a thick font. It's not a really thin one. Right, so we've got Killer written so far. I actually want to drop that on top of my layer like so we can see it right there. I might position it down here so we can see it a little bit better. Now I always make my font big to start with because I can resize it with Ctrl and T after and just resize to the size I actually want. I'm now going to go to blending options, and this is what makes the font pop out really sweet. So we're going to go to gradient overlay, and we're going to choose some colors. I may go for red on the bottom, and then I may go for yellow on the top. These colors work absolutely amazing when it comes to YouTube. There we go. See, it's like a nice pop. I like that. So we're going to go OK. I want a little bit more of the orange in, so I'm going to hold this center bit of the gradient and just bring it down a bit, just so I've got more orange than I have red. I think a good, no, I'm happy with that. I'm really happy with that. Press OK. Beautiful. Now we're going to go to inner glow. This is something that I've been doing a lot with my videos recently. I go to inner glow and I add either the darker or the lighter color like so. Sometimes you could do it on black first just to test how you're going with it. Bring the size up. I'm going to put this onto normal. There we go, the normal. Like so. And I'm going to change it back to the color that I'd like. Maybe orange. There. Gives it that nice glow on the edges, sort of like a burning effect. I like that. We're going to stay with that. We're now going to put on a stroke. Again, you can do any color stroke you want. You can make it black, you can make it white. It's whatever you feel. I think we may go for black. Yeah, we're gonna go for black today. Okay. Position on the outside and make it as thick as you like to your taste. I reckon that's thick enough. So we're gonna press OK. And now we're gonna position this piece of text. So I'm gonna press Ctrl and T and bring it up here like so. Center. Now I basically want all my font in the same manner and style of this, apart from maybe one word. So all I'm literally going to do is press Ctrl J to make a copy of this layer, Ctrl and T to select it, and then I'm going to bring it down. Go. Press enter, and I'm going to do the same again. Ctrl T, because I'm going to have 3 words in the thumbnail. That was Ctrl J, sorry. So Ctrl. Have I done the copy? Yep. And then Ctrl T and bring it down again. There we go. I'm now going to rename it. So our first word is going to be killer. Our second word is going to be thumb. And our third word is going to be nails. So killer thumbnails. I like the sound of that. Okay. Press enter. There we go. Now we're going to resize the nails. We're going to resize it all so it fits a lot better. I'm actually going to start with the word killer. So Control and T. I feel like it should come in a little bit like this. Maybe bring it over. Down a little bit. Don't want to make it too much because it's going to make the shape of the actual word look a little bit silly. So we're going to leave it like that. There we go. I'll tell you something we've just forgot to do is put a drop shadow on it. So we're going to go back into blending options, back to drop shadow. We're going to put it onto normal. We're going to turn the size up. The spread just makes the black thicker around it. There we go, just makes it pop that extra little bit. Nice. Going to press OK. And now, because I forgot, you shouldn't forget to put drop shadow on, I'm going to copy the layer style and paste the layer style onto the other texts, and that will essentially put on the drop shadow. So we've got the drop shadows on there now. Now we're going to go back to resizing. Killer looks pretty good for now, so we're going to go to thumb and resize thumb. Make it nice and even. A little bit thicker. And because these are going to be the main words, like killer is sort of like the small word, but its thumbnail is what the video is about, I'm going to make them just a tiny little bit bigger. Okay, thumbnails, well, that was thumb, and then nails. Control and T. Get a bit thicker. Tiny bit, there we go. Try and get it all nice and even up. You can use margins as well to help you line it up. I mean, you can make a template. I think this needs to come out a little bit more. Go. How are we looking there? That's good. As you can see on the right hand side there, you've actually got a screen that shows you exactly how you're doing and what it looks like in a thumbnail perspective. I'm going to play with the word killer just a little bit more. I think it could do with going in a little tad like so. And made a little bit bigger like that. That don't look too bad, that looks okay. I'm now going to change the killer because I feel like that should be a different color. So I'm going to go back into blending options and I'm going to change the color of it. I may go for, let's have a look, so blue. I might go for blue on the bottom, okay. And I might go for either a purple on the top. Yeah, that looks pretty nice, okay. Now you can see the shadow on the inner shadow now looks a little bit silly because it's a different color. So we're going to go back and change the shadow. Okay, okay. Right, we're going to minimize these just here. We're going to select all 3, Control T, and now we're just going to put it on a tiny bit of an angle. Tiny bit. Move it up here. Enter, and there we go. Okay, so there you are, guys. Those are basically the main techniques to making pretty good thumbnails. You could change the fonts. I mean, you could use a better font than I have. It's not the best font that I'm using. You can do whatever you want. Different backgrounds. You could even use the same original background as this guy. You could have left this background on. If we just deselect this, what we was working with earlier, deselect, you could actually change the background of this guy by going to filter, blur gallery, no sorry, blur, Gauss blur, and blur in the back of the picture like so. Oh well, I've just accidentally done it. Let's go back in here, Gauss blur, bring that up a little. There we go. So you could even do something like that if you wanted. It gives it like a field of depth, something like that. But after you've completely finished with your thumbnail, you can go to File, Save As, and then we can save it as either a PNG or a JPEG. Again, if the file size is too big, we'll save that as that, save, okay. If the file size is over 5 megabytes, you can either save it as a PNG or JPEG and then take it to a JPEG compressor website, upload the photo, and they will compress it and make it a smaller size, but it doesn't lose as much of its quality. And one last thing, this is what somebody taught me once. He's actually a friend of mine called Substance Gaming. We're actually going to zoom out a little bit to do this. If you come down here to the rectangle tool, we're going to make a big rectangle, like so, right? We are then going to make the inside white, like so. We're going to close this group, press enter. We're then going to take this on top of everything, press Ctrl and T, and we want to make it go on an angle like so. So we want to bring it across the photo. If you need to make it bigger, you need to make it bigger, that's fine. So we want to get across there. Doesn't have to be perfect. Press enter. What we can then do is turn the opacity right down. There we go, look, 12%. And it just makes everything sort of come together that tiny little bit. I might even bring it down and maybe just one more. I might even turn the fill down a little bit as well. Just there. It's very, very small. I might turn it up a little bit now. So it's not the biggest thing, but it really, really does help and make that thumbnail look that extra bit more professional. But yeah, guys, that is it. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you've learned a few tips or techniques, and I hope maybe that you'll be able to apply these to your future thumbnails. If you're just starting out on YouTube and you need to know how to make these bright thumbnails that people are using, here is a really good way just to start off. These are really easy techniques to apply to. Be careful with the images you use. You're usually good with game images, but when it comes to other images like the one I got in the background, you usually got to be a little bit careful and make sure you have usage rights on those particular pictures. But yeah, guys, that is exactly how I make mine. I've obviously got a template set up now that I can go back to every time I make a thumbnail and just change the text and a few other little things. So there's a lot more layers and you can put a lot more things in there. You could even put something behind the thumbnails, like a little picture, but not something too much to take somebody's eyes off the main objective of the thumbnail, and that is basically to draw somebody in. So there you have it, guys, a nice clean thumbnail. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please make sure to leave this video a like rating, and if you want to see more videos like this, because I am actually a gaming YouTuber, but if you do want to see more videos like this, or maybe how to make YouTube videos, please let me know in the comment box below. If you did make it to the end of this video, guys, you're absolutely awesome. Share this video with your friends if they're just starting out on YouTube, if they're just starting out on Photoshop. Share it so they can get a little head start on making some epic thumbnails. Guys, you've been absolutely awesome. This has been Dame. This is DameAndThatGame, and to the next video, I'm out. Listen.